So today, I want to pray because I'm excited to be preaching. I haven't preached in a couple of weeks, and thank you, Travis, and thank you, Larry. Let's give them a hand for, man, that's tough. Like, I was thinking, man, how am I going to preach after Larry? I should take one more week off or let Lewis do it, let him tank after Larry. And then we go ahead and just come back after Lewis, That would be like the smart thing to do. No, man. Oh, man, it's been so wonderful to have Travis to be able to lean upon. And Larry, man, thank you so much for giving my wife and I my first Sunday off since we started Proximity. We haven't had a Sunday where we weren't here. I was a little nervous, to tell you the truth. I'm like, man, they're good. They're going to be all right. But thank you. All that to say. So today, or for the last 2 weeks, Larry challenged us with how to purposely pursue this journey of becoming a spiritual man, to create the space, right, necessary for spiritual life, to live pursuing the freedom, right, but then the responsibility that freedom gives us, right, or it comes with, in order to become a truly alive individual. And I found that so good and so challenging and so full of depth that I had a tough week, right? I had a tough week because to learn to concentrate, right, to give our focus to the things of God, to become free from our propensity to become attached by the things that keep us and make us bound. And ultimately, he was teaching us to love, right, and to obey the law of love, man. So I heard the message. I heard the Father's Day message from Larry, and I heard last week's message. I was sitting right here. And Monday came, and I got depressed. Not because I had to preach today after Larry, but not depressed is too big of a word. I felt like immobile. Okay, like when you have been giving something that is kind of big, and you're like, have you ever had a mess you don't know where to begin? Okay, like I look my garage right now. That's my place of mess, okay? I look at my garage, I take a deep breath, and I just close the door. I don't even know how to tackle my garage. I don't even know what to do, so I just look in there, and I said, you know what, not today. And I close the door, and I walk away. So Larry's teaching and Travis' teaching made me look at the garage of my life. It made me look like I need to do something about that mess. I need to address the mess. And the mess for me was the clutter. Is the clutter, not was the clutter. I ain't even fixed it all yet. I mean, I started looking at the garage. I walked up in there and I said, okay, I might have to move that over there and probably throw that away. But I started the process because for me it was so daunting. It's so big. So I felt paralyzed. I felt paralyzed because I knew the implications of what I heard on Sunday. And when it's my turn to just listen, I'm like, God, speak to me. Like, I want to hear from you. I don't just sit here and just receive another good theological nugget from an articulate guy, and add that to my, 20 years of hearing messages. No, I'm like, God, say something to me. Challenge me today. And I felt like I just needed to sit that Sunday and soak up the fact that I personally need to create space, that I personally need to focus and need to declutter, if you would, or need to, so my iPad closed here. I need to refocus a little bit more, and I need to go into the garage of my life and just do some work. So what I want to do today is I want to, first of all, remind you that it's a process, and remind you that it doesn't happen overnight, and remind you that some things in life, there is no shortcut to them. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'll come back to that, to the point that, listen, becoming a better version of you, becoming a better friend, a better father, a better husband, it takes time. It takes time. You can't go from not walking to crawling to walk into running overnight. It doesn't happen. Look at your children. Look at you. You didn't begin to run till you were, a year or so old. And from there, you weren't really running. You were kind of doing what Eliana does, wobbling, right? And so I just want to encourage you that, we have to do those things. We have to not be attached to things. Yeah, we have to create room and margin and space and grace for other people and for us. And we have to attack those things in our life that we know we've been sweeping under the rug, man. I ain't dealing with that. This stuff, you know. Nobody sees it, but we know they're there, right? We need to acknowledge them. And so maybe the first thing that you need to do is just go up in your garage and be like, I need to tell somebody else that my garage is a mess. Because as long as I just keep it within me, I'm just going to keep on hiding it. Right? As long as I just keep the fact that there's mess that I haven't addressed, I'm not going to do anything about that. So whether it's my marriage is a mess. And the first thing I need to do is just let somebody know, because when I do, it brings light. And light brings healing. So the first thing you do is you expose that, and you say, open the door to my garage and say, Louis, man, you want to help me one day to fix this mess? I mean, and if you've been to my house, you know what I'm talking about. We moved. Helena was pregnant, so I was charged with the majority of the moving, and so it took us like 3 or 4 weeks to move to the house. So I didn't know where she wanted the stuff, so I just put everything in the garage. And so I thought it was organized, and then she came in, and she was like, oh, my God, let's just leave it there. Close the door. Bring the couch in the bed. That's all we need, right? But today what I want to build upon with embracing your place, with creating the space necessary that we need to becoming a spiritual man, is I want to take from Jesus' Sermon on the Mount just a sound bite. And I want to talk about that sound bite because there's so much. If you've never read the Sermon on the Mount, it's found in the book of Matthew. Now, the Bible, the New Testament, is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's how it started. Those are the Gospels. Those are the 4 accounts of Jesus' life. So 4 people talk about Jesus, right, from different points of view. Okay, so it's if like us 4 to say, let's write what we saw. Okay, and everybody writes what they saw. And one of the guys actually went around and talked to everybody and see what they saw, and then wrote that down. And so I want to jump in Matthew chapter 5. This is probably Jesus' most famous sermon. It's funny when I hear politicians talk about, the Sermon on the Mount. I was like, you ain't never read the Sermon on the Mount. Man, if you read the Sermon, you know how much stuff there is in the Sermon on the Mount, man. That'd be enough to keep you locked in your room for the rest of your life. It is. Some of the things are so deep, so hard, so countercultural. And so what I'm going to say today, you've heard, but hopefully it will build upon what we've been hearing for the last couple of weeks. Okay, so Jesus begins with the Beatitudes. Now, one of the things that he says there, he says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And that's important to me because when you begin to hear some of the things that Jesus talks about, like if somebody hits you on the right cheek, go ahead and give them the left. That's hard, okay, for a man to do. Yeah, go ahead. You hit me here, now go ahead and hit this side. Okay, that's a little tough to start with, okay? And so I hear, I see, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And I think Jesus does a good job because he acknowledges that spiritual poverty, with spiritual poverty are in the best place to experience the blessing, to experience and enjoy his kingdom. So being on the tail end of that's hard. Being on this, I'm not going to be able to do it. That's going to be tough. Being poor in spirit and leaning upon God's grace is going to be required for you to be able to do some of the things Jesus taught. Is everybody here? So we're all going to start here with this thing called grace. Being poor in spirit, knowing we can't do it on our own, knowing you've tried, and knowing that we failed, and we fail. So he's going to say a whole bunch of things, and hopefully you'll read that on your own. So in Ephesians 2, it says, for it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is a gift from God. Okay, so I say that at the beginning because Jesus is going to address some things you have to adjust in life. Jesus is going to talk about some of the things you should do when you walk up into the garage of your life and begin to address your mess. You need to live this way and not do this and do that. You should do this and not do that. Okay? And so I don't want you to associate your salvation, the fact that Jesus paid a price for your life and your place in heaven is secure, with changing the way you live your life and addressing your mess. 2 different things, but we're going to talk about that because salvation is by grace. It's through faith, and that not of your own. It is a gift from God, and if it's not a gift, we're all in trouble. Okay? So grace is defined as, it has 2 definitions. It's unmerited favor, all right? It's unmerited favor. And the reason obviously you could have 2 definitions from the same word. It's like the word hard is solid and it's difficult. Those are 2 words, 2 meanings for the same word. And the word and the definition or the context gives it its definition. The other word, the other thing it means empowerment. And that's what I want you to think about. Grace is God's empowerment for you to be able to do what you need to do in life. It is his empowerment. Okay, so you fall short, you don't have what it takes. Grace is the empowerment. You keep messing up here in this specific area of your life, that's fine. Grace is the empowerment to push past that thing you can't do and do more than you could do without the grace. It is his empowerment to push you further than you could go on your own. You keep getting stuck here in this place in life with your relationship. The empowerment of God, his grace, will push you to do more than you can do on your own. You're getting caught in the same type of sin, same kind of addiction, same kind of contradiction. God's grace will get you from where you are. It will empower you to be able to walk, to do more than you could do on your own. He said to Paul that my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. So Paul, he was doing life, he was serving the Lord, and there was this thing that he couldn't overcome, right? And he said, and he prayed for that to be removed. And God said, my grace is sufficient for you. My empowerment is sufficient for you. Yeah, you feel you can't do it. Yeah, you feel you're getting stuck in that place, but I can empower you to do more. My grace is sufficient for you. So it is with this grace as the foundation that I want to present to you what Jesus said. It's found in Matthew chapter 5, verse 38 through 42. And it says, let's go up there together. Okay, it says, you have heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. All right, so the punishment needs to fit the crime. That's what it's saying. Now, you've heard that. You've heard that before. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist an evil person. But whoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other towards him also. All right, so what Jesus is saying, there's a way to live. You've heard it said, do it this way. I'm coming here and I'm telling you, do it a different way. So you've been exposed on how to do it. You probably know how to do it without my help. And this is the way you've done it. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, right? An eye, you do this, I do this. You say this, I say that, I retaliate. You do this, I do that, right? You've done it this way all your life. But I tell you, I say to you, do not resist an evil person, but whoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other. I heard the story of a guy that he was new to church in the Bible. He read that. He was like, well, I guess I'm supposed to do that. One day he was about to get into a scuffle, and he let the guy punch him in the face. But then he said, Pastor, after that, I beat him. After I gave him my other cheek, then I beat him down because he didn't say what to do after I turned the other cheek. So I just let him hit me twice, and then I went on the attack mode. And I said, well, that's one way to go about it. Well, that's one interpretation of Scripture. Do what you got to do, my man. But do not resist. And verse 40 says, if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, let him have your coat also. And you're like, wait a minute, that don't sound right. Like, you want to sue me and I got to just go ahead and give? Not just let you sue me, but then I got to give to you? That's just not how we operate. But I think that's what Jesus is trying to teach. There is a different way to live. There is a different way to be. And I think that's what he's teaching. There is the way that the general population of earth is living, right? But there is a different way. And as Larry was alluding to last week, part of becoming a spiritual man is being aware that there's another way to live. And so humanity is living cluttered and is living bound by technology and bound by busyness, right? We're so busy we don't know what to do. And so now there is another way. But there is another way. And so today I want to talk about one of those other ways to be. The next verse says, if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, let him have your coat also. And whoever forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. What? If somebody forces me, I don't even want to run a mile, to tell you the truth. I'll walk a mile. I will, if I'm at Disney, I'll walk a mile. But like 2 miles, if I don't have to, I don't want to. But he was just saying there's another way. Give to him who asks you, and do not turn away from him who wants to borrow from you. Go back, or go to the next verse, because I put it back. I want to focus on verse 41. And whoever forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. And whoever forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Kind of titled today's message, the 2-mile man or the 2-mile woman. Don't get mad at me, a wife of mine. the 2-mile person. Because we are called to live a life that's different. Everybody on earth, when forced, will go the mile because that's what their job requires of them. That's what their spouse requires of them. That's what their children requires of them. That's what the culture requires of them, to go 1 mile. But Jesus is saying there is another way. And he's saying, if somebody forces you to go 1 mile, go ahead and go the 2nd mile. The thing is, we are all trained and conditioned to look for shortcuts, right? And so here's the thing. You're going to have to decide whether you're going to be a shortcut person or a 2nd mile person. And I was reading a book. This is like the 6th book that this guy has written called Habitudes. They're just pictures that develop leadership habits and attitude. And this habitude, he says this. Next one. I think I'll put it up there. In life, we are conditioned to look for shortcuts. We see the most comfortable and easy and familiar way to get by. Those who go the extra mile may work harder, but they reap the benefits through their service and work that no one else gets to experience. So only the people that decide to go into their garage of life and not just simply look at their mess, but they begin to go the extra mile to go into their mess and say, God, show me where to put stuff. Show me how to best arrange this mess. I've tried to do it on my own. I've heard sermons about it. People have told me I probably should clean out my garage. I know deep inside I should probably order and get this garage in order, but I haven't done it because of the work it's going to require. Because we've been trained to look for shortcuts, and that's just too much work. To change the way I talk? To change the way I interact with my kids? To change the way I spend my money? No, not going to do that. To change what I watch, what I listen to, what I entertain myself with? Not going to do it. To change the way that I serve? Yeah, that's not going to happen. To change my schedule, my life, what I'm accustomed to? Are you telling me, that I'm going to have to do things differently? Yeah, because there is one way. But Jesus is asking us to go the 2nd mile. To be a 2nd mile man or woman. But we have been trained and conditioned to look for shortcuts. It's convenient. I'm notorious for looking for shortcuts. No books, just the Cliff Notes. No Cliff Notes, just let me watch the movie. No movie, man, just tell me about it. I ain't even going to watch the movie. Just tell me what happens. Sometimes you watch the preview and don't you feel like you just saw the movie? We do that all the time. We were trying to pick a movie on iTunes. We're like, let's just watch the trailer. We watch the trailer and we're like, it's kind of feel like we watched the whole movie. There's no point. Okay, let's just find something else, right? And we do that. Skip? No, it's shortcut. It's too much time. If I'm going to give my time to watch a movie, it better be good. If you recommend a book, just know that if I read it and it sucks, I'm never taking your suggestion again. You know how much dedication it requires to take a book, and you're going to suggest some book? Now I know better, man. I'm like, yeah. Oh, you read that book. That's good, man. Pastor, you should read it. Yeah, man. Right, okay, so we're conditioned for shortcuts. No oven, give me the microwave. No oven? I got to sit there for 3 hours? No, give me forget the microwave. Let's just go out to eat. No, forget eating out, man. Let's just stay home and call Uber Eats. And let's just have it delivered to our house. We look for shortcuts. No conversation. Just calm. No face-to-face, Greg. That's too hard. Like, what if I want to leave and I can't because I'm in front of you? Like, what if I don't want to talk no more and you're still talking? That's too hard. Just call me. But then I was like, no, don't just call me. That might be too difficult because you might be a talker. Like, I have friends that are talkers and I just don't answer the phone. They call me and I just text them back. I'd be like, Pastor, did you get my... Yeah, I'm texting you back. I just want to be in control. No, I don't want to talk to you. But text me. And you know what? Don't just text me. I'll see what you do in social media. I don't have to be engaged in your life. You'll tell me later, I'm sure. Right? I'll find out what you have for breakfast later. But we've been conditioned for shortcuts, right? We all have. Conditioned to find the easiest way, the fastest way, to find the shortcut. We all have, and we all are. I think about the tortoise and the hare, the movie, right? It's about speed. We think that the rabbit's going to win because he's fast. And then to find out that the turtle wins, we're like, no, that can't be. Why would we teach our children that? Slow and steady doesn't win the race. What? Who wrote this? This is not biblical, right? And we're surprised that the turtle actually, we seen the cartoons, man. I saw mine with Bugs Bunny. I think it was. Bugs Bunny was racing. That's how I heard that story. Puerto Rican, sorry, I don't read no books. And so I'm watching it, and I see even Bugs Bunny's going to win, man. A little turtle. And then, but the turtle had like a motor. Anyways, that's not right. In the real story, he was fast anyway, see? You see how they do it? But slow won, but we don't think slow is good. Our culture teaches us that slow is bad. And again, so Jesus is saying there is a way that most people live, but you need to be a second-mile person. Just know there's another way other than fast. There's a different way other than being fast. And I think that's one of the ways, one of the things he's trying to teach. When I use my GPS, right, they give you a couple options. And what do we press? I don't care how many tolls I got to pay, the fastest route. Fastest. It's a 2-minute difference, and I'm going to pay $3. I don't care. Fastest way. Fastest way. And we are conditioned. No scenic route, no alternative route. Whatever gets me there, fastest. I love shortcuts to a flaw, man. Sometimes I get lost finding a shortcut, and it takes me like an extra 30 minutes because I spent 30 minutes looking for my shortcut that I missed, and I got lost. And sometimes the fastest path ends up taking me longer than the other path, and that's often the picture of our life. Often. Right? We try to pick the shortest way, the fastest way. We try to find the shortcut, and in looking for the shortcut, we miss all the lessons. We miss all the things that God would want to teach us because we are looking for the fastest route. We don't appreciate the people around us. We don't get to see and experience because it's about getting to the destination. Right? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with efficiency. I love to work smart. I love to work smart, and I love to work hard. My science teacher, in high school, she used to say, Javi, there's always a better way. There's always a better way. You're doing it this way, there is always a better way. And I used to think better meant faster. And I always used to think, she would say there's a better way. She must mean there is a faster way. Because for me, if it's faster, it's better. We want a faster phone, faster computer, faster car, right? Faster download speed. Ain't nobody want to wait for it to buffer. Let's go. We want a faster line. Like you got 11 items. I counted. Get out of my line. It says 10 items. You have 11. I need to skip you. I got 3. Let's go. We want to move, right? But when I get lost in the speed, in the shortcuts and just trying to be efficient, I frequently lose sight of what gives life meaning. And I think that's some of the stuff Larry alluded to last week was just, wait a minute, pause. What gives your life meaning is God, it's your family, it's the people around you that you love, that love you in return. The view, the scenery that I could enjoy if I slowed down. It's like eating something for the first time. And like, wait a minute, it's like, that tasted so good. I'm so used to eating fast food, but now I sat down and I enjoyed a meal and it tasted different and it might have been a little weird, but you know what? The more I have it, it's like, okay, it is really difficult for me, and you're going to call me bougie, whatever, okay, I don't care. But you have a good filet mignon, you have a good one. Having regular steaks at Chili's is difficult. And call me first world pain, call me spoiled. Yes, I am, okay, I know. And so I can't always afford a filet mignon, but I've tasted it. And it's so good. And you just cut it. Just give me like 3 of those. They give you little 6-ounce. What's that? No, give me like, see, I'm too cheap to eat good food. But I'm just saying, like, once you've tasted it, it's a different kind of taste. The same thing with slowing down. The same way from living your life this way as most people do. And God teaching there is another way to be like a second-mile person, to be a second-mile man. There's a place, right? There are places in life that can only be reached if you take the long way. There are things in life that no shortcuts are allowed. Some of the nicest places you'll ever visit in life, there's no way to get to that place except taking a long way. There's certain things about God that you will only learn the long way. The way that takes time through discipline. Yeah, it might be boring, it might be hard, but there's some things you'll never experience unless you just sit in silence, sit in quiet, disengage, unplug, do it a different way, do more than what other people expect, do more than what everybody else is doing, going the extra mile. Not only seeing the problem, you know, they say that the first step in recovering is just realizing or admitting that, hey, there is a problem. But that's just the first step. You can do that all your life. Man, I have a temper. Great. We all know that. Okay, I'm glad you acknowledge you have a temper. You like to cuss. When you get mad, you go from 0 to 100. Fantastic. You acknowledged it. My wife would be me. She'll be like, right? Because she'll be like, everybody knows that, right? But now what do you do with that? Do you address the mess? Or do you just, But there are places in life that can only be reached by going the long way, by going the second mile. The price for admission must be paid. There's certain things you have to pay full price for. There's not going to be a coupon. There's not going to be a homeboy discount. There's not going to be a quick way. For the juicy things, the good things, you're going to have to pay full price. The same thing with your spiritual life. Some things you just have to pay the price for. You're going to have to go the extra mile for. You're going to have to say no to some things and yes to other things. And you're going to have to do things that other people don't do that might be weird, that might be countercultural. Yeah, if you want to be a second mile person, if you want to experience things that other people don't experience, if you want to have peace like other people don't have peace, if you want to enjoy life the way other people don't enjoy life, people look at me kind of crazy like, you're enjoying your life? Yeah, because I'm just doing things just a little bit different. I don't need 12 friends. I don't need them all. No, because I'm enjoying the ones that I got. Right? I don't need 4 children. I got 3. That's what I tell my wife. I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't need another dog. I don't need a dog. She was trying to get me to get a dog yesterday. I don't want no dog. She's up there, little. No. So let me tell you. Some things you gotta put into work. There's no magic prayer. You don't just come up here and get delivered from that thing. Some people, it happens for some people, right? But most people, you come up here, you've been struggling with pornography. You come up here, I'll pray for you. You won't go back and do pornography again, right? Or you struggle with alcohol or drugs or sexual addiction or just something. Most of the time you come up here and you believe in faith, and guess what? You go home to your same temptations and you stumble and you fall again. But grace is the empowerment that God gives you to move past that and continue to move forward even though you stumble and fall. Even if you've got to crawl, even if you have to get people to carry you. Did you know that there's a story in the Bible that there was a paralytic man that could not walk, and it was the faith of his friends that healed him? His friends picked him up, took him to Jesus because he couldn't walk. Jesus honored the faith of your friends. You got to read that someday. I'll preach about it. But the second mile, this is where it comes from. The term comes from the Roman Empire. Centuries ago, when Rome controlled the countries and colonies, citizens in those countries were obligated, if a Roman soldier came and asked them, hey, can you help me carry my stuff? The Roman citizen was obligated to carry their stuff or help them in any way for up to 1 mile. And so if a Roman soldier had the bag and the gun and was carrying stuff, and there was a Roman citizen, he was obligated to take the stuff. And the Roman citizen had to carry for 1 mile. There was a certain number of steps or whatever. And they did. But now some of them learned, wait a minute, if I go the second mile, there are going to be some benefits to going the second mile. And I imagine how the Roman soldier must have felt for the citizen who decided to go the second mile. Like, you don't have to, but you're doing it anyway. It will remove some of the tension. It will remove some of the, oh, you're not doing this just because I'm making you. You're doing this because you want to. There was a different feel about going the extra mile, doing more, doing it differently than everybody else. So let me break down the differences. Put them over there for me. In the first mile, you walk because you have to. Second mile, you walk because you want to. First mile, you're doing the very minimum, right? In the second mile, you're doing the maximum. In the first mile, it's about duty. Second mile is about devotion. See, you're doing it because out of devotion for God. God's not interested in slaves. That's why he gives us choice to do That's why, listen, it's not really love if you're being made to love, right? It's not really love unless it's a second mile kind of love. The first mile, you kind of require to love. Second mile is you choose whether you want to do it. So it's not out of duty. It's not out of like you must. It's not because the Bible says. The second mile is because you love. It's out of devotion. It's a different kind of living, I'm telling you. First mile satisfies the necessity. Check, done. Assignment done. Mission completed. Work done. The second mile serves needs, the needs that they see. First mile focuses on me. Second mile focuses on others. So as you can see, second mile living is about service. It's about service. See, you organize your life, you get your life in order so that you can do something with your life that serves other people. It's not just so you to have a nice garage. You don't organize, you don't get your life in order just so you can have a great organized life. You don't get your money in order just so you can have lots of money in the bank. Okay, you don't just free up your schedule just so you can have a lot of time to watch Netflix. I do it too, don't make me get mad. But I'm saying, it's for a purpose, and it's to serve other people. And it's to have a life of service. So second mile living is about service. John 15:13 says, greater love has no man than this, that he would lay his life down for a friend. Greater love has no man. You know how God says, love God with all your heart, God, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Then the Bible's teaching us, greater love has no man, that he would lay his life down. You know what laying your life down looks like? Not stepping in front of a bullet, but laying your preferences, your comfort, your convenience down to serve somebody else. See, that's not how most people live. But there's another way, and that's what Jesus was alluding to. There's a different way. Not so with you, right? The Message in Mark 10 says, whoever wants to be great must become a servant. Mark 10:45 says, for even the Son of Man did not come to this world to be served, but to serve. Jesus, as the prime example, did not come into this world to be served by people, but to serve people. And I know in churches, we are accustomed to the church saying, okay, guys, next Saturday, we're going to go serve here. No. You are the church. Where are you going to serve? You know people I don't. You'll go to places I'll never go to. You'll have friendships with people I'll never be friends with. How are you serving your circle of influence? You don't have to wait for us to organize something for you. See, that's very convenient, very nice. We're all going together. Let's pack a lunch and let's go. No, wait a minute. It's much harder for you to see your neighbor in need and go serve them because you're being the church wherever you are. You don't have to wait for me. That was my problem growing up, man. I wanted my church to do all kinds of things, and they wouldn't do it. And all of a sudden, I realized, wait a minute, I am the church. I could just do it. I could go serve. I could go give. If somebody has a need, I could go fulfill that need. I could be the hands and feet, right? I'm almost done, guys. For greater love, for even the Son of Man did not come into this world to be served, but to serve. It requires you. This kind of living requires you to focus on others, not on your own comfort and convenience. And I'll tell you this story. A couple of weeks ago, I don't remember the context. Angelina wasn't here. I was with the kids. I couldn't leave because it's hard grabbing all the kids, especially the little one, to go shopping. I can't just grab all 3 kids and go to a store because it's just difficult. So Larry calls me and he says, hi, do you need anything? Usually when he says, I know he's willing to, but I know he got 3 kids himself, so I'm not going to be like, yeah, man, I need to go shopping for me and bring it to my house. But, you know, he had been telling me the same thing for a couple of days. Do you need anything? Do you need anything? And I was like, man, I do. My dryer, you know, the little part that connects the dryer to the wall, that is metallic material. What is that? Aluminum material. You know what I'm talking about? In the back? Y'all don't look at the back of your dryers. Anyway, I walk into my little room, and it's hot in my little room. It's hot. It's like a sauna. And so I'm looking. I'm like, why is it so hot in this room? I'm looking back at the dryer. The little thing is broken. I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. I had just started a bunch of laundry. I said, Larry, can you bring me one of those little metallic things? Larry stopped his life, whatever he was doing. He went, got it, left it at my door. He called me later. He said, hey, by the way, we left it at your door. Thanks. Going out of his way, second mile living. He didn't have to do that. I mean, he didn't have to. I still haven't paid him back. I owed him like $15. I got you. I ain't forgot about you. Larry counts his money, though. Don't be fooled. Man, one time I said, hi, you still owe me $375, bro. Don't mess with Larry's money. So listen, why is this kind of living so hard for us? The reason it's hard for us is because we're selfish. You and me, so self-absorbed, so about me. It's all about my phone, my car, my house, my job, my comfort, my convenience. We let sin and our shortcomings, right, take us out of the game. Right? Because, I can't serve the church because, I was at the club last night. Grace empowers you to move past the club and go serve. Eh? You're not sinning by helping us set up the TV. That nothing. You be at the club and come in Sunday and help us set up the TV. I don't care. I don't care where you are. I'm not going to let you preach if you're just getting drunk at the club, but you can help us set up some stuff. I'm just saying. I mean, we count ourselves out. We talk our way out of doing stuff, right? Like, we're not supposed to, but we give ourselves, man, I'm living a life of sin. So is everybody else. But grace empowers us to move past our insufficiencies and do what God is calling you. It's like God say, okay, you can't get past that, right? Here's the grace that you need. Move on. And you fall down again. Okay, Bobby, here's the grace that you need for that. Let's keep moving. Because if it was up to us, we'll just camp there. Have a pity party. Be sorry for ourselves. I'm never going to change. I'm coming to keep falling in the same things. No, God is saying, my grace is sufficient for you. Get your butt up. Keep moving in life. Go, go, go. Right? Slow and steady, not fast. Slow and steady wins the race. Right? So here's some of the things our culture values. Our culture, it values speed, right? And because we value speed, we think slow is bad. Because our culture values convenience, we think that hard things are bad. If it's not convenience, it must not be good. Wait a minute. Sometimes my friendships aren't convenient. I got to make time. I got to stop some things I want to do to spend time with people that I want to cultivate a friendship. That's not going to happen by itself. Some people ask me, man, how do you have such a good friendship with Larry, Quincy, and John? Man, we got 20 years of serving one another, of calling each other, of asking about each other, of challenging each other, of listening, not even talking, just listening. So people just say what's on their mind, and just sometimes we have nothing to say, but man, I'm glad you worked that out. But we paid the price. We went the second mile. And now we are enjoying the benefits of something we sowed into and poured into and gave into. We second mile lived with each other. We went the second mile. We went the extra mile for one another. See, our culture values entertainment. So if it's not entertaining, it must be bad. No, there is another way. Boring is not necessarily bad. Quiet is not necessarily bad. Our culture values nurture, so we think taking risks is bad. Taking risk is not bad. Loving somebody is never a bad idea. I mean, if they're beating your face in, it's a bad idea. Don't let nobody beat your face in. If you're in an abusive relationship, get out. But for the most part, what I'm telling you is keep loving somebody in spite of their mess. And so love. God will fill you back up when you're empty. Our culture values entitlement. So we think working hard and labor is bad. No, we got to work hard. We got to go the extra mile, you and me. The problem is that by avoiding these things, we avoid the very elements that enable us to mature, to get beyond our selfish ways. We have the assumption that everything we have is for our consumption. So my time is for me, my money is for me, my energy is for me. But there is another way. Right? My money is not just for me. My energy is not just for me. My time is just not for me. There is another way, and it's called second mile living. You can name it whatever you want. I just thought that was catchy. But there is another way. And you are challenged, and I am challenged to live that way. To live life of selflessness and to just abandon our comfort and our convenience for the sake of other people. I think that brings God honor. So I'll close with this. If you want a practical, I'll just run through these real fast. A second mile man thinks more about others than themselves. She'll make it as practical as I can for you. A second mile man or woman thinks more about others than themselves. A second mile man makes him or herself available to serve. They see a need and they just serve. Not just here at the church, but like at home. Like you see an opportunity to serve your spouse, like empty the dishwasher. Dude, just do it. Shut up. Go. Like you see an opportunity to pick up the underwear on the floor, just pick it up. It's going to stay there for a week. Just pick it up. Right? You find out, you see a need here at the church, same thing. Just, hey, you go into extra mile. You find a place to serve. Whatever we have the opportunity, we have to do what is good for everyone, especially the family of believers, Galatians 6:10. Right? Second mile man pays attention to needs. Second mile man does his or her best with what they have. You do the best with what you have. They don't make excuses. I don't have. They don't procrastinate. They don't wait for better circumstances. Life is never going to be perfect for you to volunteer to do something. Never. Your life is never going to be perfect. You're going to have to go out of yourself and just do it. You know, if God waited for everybody to be perfect to do things, nothing would get done. I'm not a perfect individual, but you know what? We felt led to start Proximity Church, so here we are. Are we perfect? No. Do we get it right all the time? No. Do we got issues? Yes. I'm your pastor. Of course we got issues. It doesn't have to be perfect for God to use it. You don't have to be perfect for God to use you. That'll preach right there. That's another day. There, you can have that one. That's a lob. Second mile man thinks like a steward, not an owner. What I have has been given to me on loan to manage, not because it's mine. So the energy, my health, my provision, my money, my time is not really mine. I've been given to him. It's been given to me by God. So now I get to steward it. I get to manage it in a way that honors him. It's not really mine. I mean, if you can create your own life, then it's yours. If you can keep your heart beating, if you keep your lungs going, if you can give yourself life, then you go ahead and live it the way you want. But I just think that you should manage what's been given to you, right? Finally, I'm going to write this one down up on the screen. But a second mile man puts his or her trust in the Lord and the grace and love that he lavishes on us. You got to trust that grace is there for you. Otherwise, you're going to be paralyzed by life. You'll never want to do stuff. You'll never feel capable. You'll never feel good enough. But grace empowers you to push on past your mess. Do you have mess? Yes. Has it been the same mess as you were 13? Most likely. But here I am to tell you that God could take that and he tells you his grace is sufficient for you. For in your weakness, his strength is perfect. So the habitude, one more time, if you could go back. In life, we are all conditioned to look for shortcuts. We seek the most comfortable and easy way and familiar way to get by. But those who go the extra mile may work harder, but they will reap the benefit through their service and their work that nobody else gets to experience because they did it a different way. Would you let me pray for you? Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for all those who this morning hear the call to go the extra mile, or hear the challenge to live a different kind of way, and just look at the garage of their life and say, that's just too big. There's too many things to change. Listen, start with one thing. God, help them identify the one thing that they can start moving out of their garage and making it right, placing it in order. I thank you for your grace that empowers us, that gives us what we don't deserve. I thank you for every husband and wife here that are holding on by your grace. God, may you saturate their marriage, and that they would know that what they're doing is going the second and third mile, just holding on and trusting you that he who began a good work is faithful to complete it. I thank you for all of us here, God. Bless us. Thank you for all that you do. May we honor you in the things that we say and do. And may we be 2 mile people in Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. Let's give God a hand. Amen. It feels good to preach, boy. I can't have too many weeks off. Okay, so want to remind you, again, if you're here for the first time, we'll be in the back. We're going to be hanging out a little longer because we have to take everything with us today. So if you have a little bit of time, you want to help us move stuff around, Travis could show you what needs to be done. Lewis could show you. Alex could show you. So next week we're off. I'll put something online for us. I'll be texting you what's going on. Make sure you turn in your cards. Go to the giving station where Tony is, and there's a little box. Just throw it in the box before you leave. I love you. Have a great week. Enjoy your Sunday off. Do something with your family. Slow down. Relax. I love you, and we'll see you July 9th at Ventura Elementary. God bless you. Love you. Peace.